On today's episode of First Rodeo Radio, we are welcomed on by Anthony Montedoro. He is a fellow Jersey native. He grew up near Monmouth Park, where Brian and I both started to fall in love with the thoroughbred. This conversation was awesome. Talked through Anthony's journey through life, which included some battles with addiction. He's coming up on 8 years sober, and now he is a very successful jockey agent. He's got the book of Joe and Lil Nacho at Oaklawn Park. It's a great conversation, kind of started on the backside in the mornings, kind of shows the community that is back there. Enjoy this conversation with Anthony.
First Rodeo Radio, where the race begins. The homies have reached the starting gate, and they're off.
Thanks for joining us, Anthony.
How are you, my brother, Matt?
Doing well, doing well. We had a hell of a weekend. Two guys from Jersey crossing paths in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I wish I had I wish I had our horse like you did.
Yeah, it was good times. The get out $3 pick 3 did me quite well on Saturday, and
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
it was a fun Saturday. Started, watching Reef Runner win in Eric's office there at Oaklawn. The Fox Barn starting hot, finishing strong too.
Yeah, Oaklawn Park, man. Since I got here, I have nothing other than the ice storm. Nothing negative to say. I mean, the people are nice. The racing atmosphere is incredible. People love being here. They come out to the track. It reminds me of the old days when I was growing up in Jersey. That's what it reminds me of. People come out. They bring their families. It's like a thing.
Yeah,
It's
it was
insane.
it was Valentine's Day in the rain, and they had a listed attendance, I think, of like 22,000, and I think there was every bit of that 22,000 there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And the
It's a great
place is so
atmosphere.
big, you don't even see them.
Yeah, 100%. It's not like it's big, but it's not like it's like old Belmont Park. It was like massive and just felt empty all the time. It's big, but it has a liveliness to it as well. That first floor, you can get from one end to one end pretty quickly, and there's a lot of fun stuff in between too.
Yeah, and everybody, right before the race, they all just gather like right there. And the way, they got that wall and it's just, and there's no seating. It makes it's different. I've never experienced anything like that. There's just no chairs. Everybody just walks up, you're standing there, and then you walk back inside. It's cool.
Yeah, they're like those benches that people sit on that are really stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool atmosphere. It's really I recommend it to everybody. People ask me like favorite track. I'm like, all right, like Keeneland, Saratoga, sure, but like I think Oaklawn deserves to be,
Must see.
it's climbing in my ranks for sure. I've never had a bad time there.
Still getting used to
So
the second finish line.
yeah, yeah.
That
It's
one
not
still
as
gets me.
it's not as obvious as at Keeneland. At Keeneland, they had the little arm that comes to let you know. The little
Yeah,
light is nice, but yeah, I could see it being confusing for sure. I think there's
100%.
plenty of times where races are done and people are still cheering there
Yeah, they think they're still coming.
for sure. Well, we met in the backside morning of Valentine's Day. We had a banner day. We'll get into that later, but I think we had the classic, you're from Jersey, I'm from Jersey conversation. So maybe take us through kind of your upbringing, kind of growing up in Jersey, and then how you got involved in horse racing.
So I grew up probably 10 minutes from Monmouth Park. When I was a kid, they took me to the races when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Not, I'm not great at reading. I'm not no, scholar by any means, but numbers were always my thing and money. And, I made a little money at the racetrack and just that atmosphere, that excitement. It was just, I was hooked at a young age. And my grandma used to bring me, and I had some friends who used to bring me. I mean, I had a buddy who's like a distant relative. We used to take the train. We used to, we'd sneak up there anytime we could. That was our spot. I mean, Monmouth Park. Monmouth Park. It's a magical track. I mean, It's gone through some tough times as of late, but years ago, I mean, it was a place to be. It was, and I'm hoping that they get the slots and it's a place to be again. So that's,
Yeah.
I got hooked. I got hooked at a young age, and that's what I wanted to do. I probably should have, when I went to college, I probably should have went to, I guess, Arizona or one of them schools and tried to learn track management. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I'm meeting all these people that they're like, yeah, I went to school for track manager. Like, they didn't bring that up at Neptune High School. Nobody offered me no track management. I 100% would have went. But yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate. I mean, the road that took me here, I owned some horses when I was young with guys like my uncle, Louis Filoso. We had our first horse with, Henry Carroll. Her name was Lady Fenwick, and she was a smoke lacking. And Henry he had smoke lacking and he bred the horse. And it was just an unreal experience because the horse always brought in a check. So I got the upside of horse racing right away. And you're like, wow, this is easy. She always brings in a check. She always run. This is great. And then, over the years, cousins and friends started Final Turn Racing. So I got involved with them. I had a little, hiccup there. Well, a long hiccup for a while. I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic. Next month I get 8 years sober. So I fell off for a while. I ended up homeless. I ended up caught up in an addiction. And a friend of mine, Rick Solomon, he's a professional poker player. He's the man who did the sex tape with Paris Hilton. I was living in a car, believe it or not, in the Wall Rest area. And he called me up and he said to me, if you go to rehab for a year, I'll pay for it. And he laid out somewhere around $250,000 to help save my life. And when I got sober, I decided that I wanted to live life because I was basically in jail I was jailed to an addiction for years and handcuffed to that. And I missed out on a lot of things. I mean, I was an addict, a heavy addict. I was addicted for 20 years, but I was a heavy addict for about 10 years. And I started working. I stayed in California and I was working with some family members who had some grows in the cannabis business and I was doing very well. And I got back in, with Final Turn and we were owning some horses. And it just got to be something that I liked making money, but it wasn't something I was passionate about. And I happened to strike up a friendship with Madison Over when she was a bug at Monmouth because we had some horses with Wayne Potts. And me and her were talking, and something had happened with one of her agents. And I was up at Belmont, and I was like, what are you going to do? She's like, I don't know. And then she grabbed another agent who wasn't very well liked on the backside. And she lost a lot of her business. And I knew a lot of the guys. And she goes, why don't you just try and walk me around? And I said, all right. So we walked around and I knew some of the trainers because we had horses with them, Jeff Greenlaw, Wayne, and I knew some of the other trainers just in passing, Oscar Barrera. And they were like, if you take her, we'll give her a shot. It was magical. Like we won a race, a maiden special for Kenny McPeak. First week I had her, it was insane. And then the third, fourth week I had her, we won a grade 3 with Super Chow for Jorge Delgado. And it was just like, this is easy. Not knowing how hard it would get, but to have a female bug win 2 graded stakes for the first time ever in the country, it was pretty special. And I had a lot of fun, and it was like it was my favorite thing I've ever done. Like when I was in rehab and I've had sober friends, they were like, the way you'll stay sober and the way you'll have a good life is you got to love what you're doing. And it's my passion. I'll go there in the dark days. I just like to walk around and I like to talk to people. I go see Eric in Falk's office. That's fine. And I love meeting new people and gelling with them. And then they become like my guys. In New York, I got very tight with with Rob Atras, and Wayne was already an owner of mine, and Jamie Bagg, Paul Barrow. I used to go to dinner with those guys, and it's just something. It's something about the camaraderie on the backside that you can't get anywhere else. You can't. It's insane. And I've been very fortunate to have a few really good coaches as far as agenting. Like Mike Luzzy's one of my good friends. Joe Migliori, Richie Migliori's son, that is my guy. That's when I was a baby agent, he was there for me he's still there for me. And then when I was at Monmouth last year, Jose Santos came and he ended up sending Christopher Elliott over there. And I remember Stuart from when I was younger and stuff. He had been at Monmouth and he knew some of my family members. Christopher, but we didn't know each other, me and Stu. But I started talking with Christopher every day. And when he went to New York, Jose was like, listen, I'm not going to be there. He could use somebody on his hip. And me and him, the three of us, we rock and rolled. I sent him in Madison last year, and I had the most fun I've ever had in my life. And it opened just doors to like a lot of people that I'm friends with. Like, the other day, occasionally, I'll get a call from Trevor McCarthy and Katie. I talked to them guys, and it's just the people that you watched growing up riding and stuff. Now all of a sudden they're your people. Like you're hanging out with them. It's cool. It's something that can't be manufactured. It just has to come together, and it makes it really, really special. I've gotten to meet a lot of great people in the horse racing industry, some legends, and that's cool. I work with in Jose. We have our second bug together. We had Christopher together, and it's something I'd like to. I have my own jockeys right now. I have Joseph Bielmer, and I had Fernando Har, but he had stepped away. He's taking a little break. It's cool because I get to, I'm very personal and I know how to work the barns and walk the barns. But Jose might be the most technical and smartest person I've ever met on the backside. The guy knows every horse at all these tracks, and to have somebody like that on your side, I mean, you can't. When you're in the rooms of AA and NA, they always tell you to stick with the winners. That guy is winning. That guy is revolutionized. I call him the architect. He is reshaping the agenting business in horse racing. And, he's younger than me, but I admire the hell out of him. I mean, it's incredible. All the stuff that he can get done. I swear he does the work of three people. So it's been like a crazy adventure. And, I don't have kids, I'm not married. And a lot of my friends are married. They have kids, and their kids are at that age where they can't do much anymore. So it's like, this becomes like my playground. And, you got your riders, and I got a bunch of young riders that are coming up, and it's almost like you get the same adrenaline as watching your kid play a soccer game when they win a horse race. I mean, I'm on and listen, there's bad days, there's bad times. I mean, it's you go through the ups and downs. This isn't all sunshine and roses there, but you fight through. And if you really love it, the bad times, they don't last. And the upside and the wins are that, they make them that much more special.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's like there's one of my favorite artists is Mike, and he's got an album, The Highs, the Lows, and he kind of says you gotta just learn to love the highs, the lows, and the in betweens. I think that's definitely what it's like in horse racing. And congratulations on your sobriety. I'm very, very happy that we got you. Buzzing on the backstretch. Turn things around. You're a ball of energy, a ball of joy on the backside. you're part of the reason why it's so much fun being back there. So you're definitely part of it. And I think the community aspect of the backside is, something that is infectious. You can wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and I'm happy. Skipping right over there. Very very excited for the day. Congratulations on that. I think you're doing some great work there, and I could tell you get along with everybody. Like you say, you love meeting people, and I guess maybe you could take us back to those first days when you first got Madison's book. What's going through your head when you're kind of walking through barns? Like, are you kind of do you know what sort of questions to ask? Kind of take us back to kind of what was going through your head there, and then kind of some of the first steps you took.
So it's funny you say that. So I wanted to be an agent. So in New York, you have to have a backstretch license for a continuous year before they give you a license. So I had to take a job as Wayne Potts as a hot walker. And I was Madison's, I couldn't even go on the draw and handle her stuff. I was just like her personal assistant. I was agenting, but I was her personal assistant. And they were like, listen, you don't have a year. So, but they were very cool in New York. They were like, if you go get licensed in New Jersey first, you come back and we'll license you immediately. So I went to New Jersey and I got my license. But the first few days with Madison, we walked around barns. And what I did something that was, I said, what do you do to embrace yourself, to have people embrace you? Went to Dunkin' Donuts, literally bought mean, I had to spend, I put in the investment over $1,000 in donuts. I was bringing every barn continuously for a couple weeks, dozens of donuts, sometimes muffins, whatever. And people were just like, they were very receptive and I don't think they knew how to take me because I wasn't, I worked in treatment. And the one thing I learned about people when you want to make a connection with people, you have to humanize them. And a lot of times as a jockey agent, the first thing somebody told me is they ride the agent. I was like, what do you mean they ride the agent? And I didn't figure that out. You make a connection with the trainer and they ride your rider because they like you. Because listen, Mike Leslie always tells me 80% of it's the horse, 80 to 90%. If you got the horse and you're capable, you're going to win. But I walked into like Jeffrey Engelhart's barn, and I hadn't seen him for a while, and he ran up, gave me a big hug. Madison was like, huh. Then we went to Wayne's barn, and I got a good reception. Then we went to Oscar's barn, and I got a good reception. The notice trained for me. I went over there. He gave me a big hug. And she was like, these people, and then the people that didn't know me, right away, they were cool, like Rudy Rodriguez. Oh, the first month there, he was like, he invited us out to dinner. Like, Robert Falcone's like my little brother. Like, I love Robert. He was my trainer. And, when I'm in New York, we sit together at the races all the time. So I had connections with these people and I just wasn't at work with them every day. So, but then, Madison was a worker. So that's what made her special. She would get up at 5:30 and go work horses. She'd get on 10 horses in the morning. So it made my life, and she was very smart. Like, I didn't even really know the condition book because you go to different tracks and they write these conditions. Her, Wayne, Joe, they drilled me on the condition book like I was studying for finals for my test. And I had to learn all this new stuff, but I was almost 50 years old. I was 49 years old. But I loved it. It was like going back to school, and I didn't mind. I didn't mind getting on that bus every day. I didn't, and walking in the barns, learning the horses, learning where to place them. It was, it was a lot. And at times it was overwhelming, but I had such a good support cast that it made it easy. And it was, and like you said, when you see coming here, if you got to get up at 4:30 in the morning, you're not going to the track, you're rolling over. But if you're going to the track, especially on a stakes day or something like that, you're like, I know still on Derby day, I'm up 5:30 watching the pre-shows. So that's what it was like every day for me the first few months as an agent. I would get up there, I'd be out there 5 in the morning. There wouldn't even be trainers in their barns. It was, but it was just something I knew that right away. I said, I like this. This is something I want to do. And then
For
I got to
sure.
go home to Monmouth right a few months later. And that was, now I was from a guy that sat on the front side for years, even though we had horses and go on the backside and visit. Now you get, that's the other thing. You learn the intricacies of the backside, the whole atmosphere there, how it works, and you're blown away. I mean, everybody's job's important. You don't realize it. I used to look at grooms, man, the guy's walking a horse. But if that guy doesn't walk that horse and that guy doesn't, you know, doesn't clean that stall and that, they make sure the feed's there, everybody's job is seriously important. And it's magic. It's a magical place.
Yeah, it's a full ecosystem. I grew up I would go to Monmouth Park once a summer, and that's how I got into the game myself. Was we'd call it Papa Day at the races. We'd get one of those picnic crews at Monmouth. My whole family would do a family reunion at the racetrack, and I was like you, I like numbers. I figured out you can make money understanding the numbers, and I got hooked in college. I was like just working at Costco, stuffing shelves in the morning when I was home from school. And I was like 20 minutes from Monmouth. Like I grew up in Central Jersey, so like 40 minutes from Monmouth. I was like, yeah, I'll go this Saturday. And next thing you know, I was like diving into Byers' books and Dadowitz's books, and I got hooked pretty hard. And I just would go there every Saturday with $100, and then just see what I could do. I had a little notebook where I track my P&L every single day gambling. So that's how I got into it. And as I've gotten into it more and more, you kind of reveal the different layers of the onion that is the backside that is the sport. And you gotta just keep finding different nooks and crannies to nerd out on, to figure out. It's a ton of fun. And it's the energy is unmatched for sure.
And then let me ask you, did you get any family members with the draw? Like my family, they don't understand. They're very frugal. They're very, yeah, they think it's all gambling. They have no idea what goes on. They're just like, you can't pick a real career, get a real job. I'm like, you don't understand. This is real job. This is real money. They think I'm over there just, gambling. That they have no idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It goes
Well,
into
because
it. Yeah,
for years I did like horse tournaments. Like I have an uncle who's like one of the top handicappers in the country. So that's all they think. They think he's betting. That's what he's doing. But they have no clue. People they don't understand everything else that goes on because they're in them gates at 12 o'clock and they're out at 4. So they have no idea what goes on all morning. And some days I don't even go to the track because the morning, to me, that's the most special part.
Yeah, that's when the real work is done. So maybe you could break us down. Break us down like what because I'm honestly curious myself. Like I actually met Jose at the Keeneland Sale in September. It was funny. I met him and like he was like, "Oh, I recognize your guy's name. Like, you guys have a horse in New York we're trying to get on." I was like, "The fact you know that is crazy." And
Knows
they had
every
he
bro.
knew
It's like
he knew the spot that the horse is gonna be in and everything.
encyclopedia. It's just insane. Where do you want me to break down?
So kind of take us through. So like you're going out with Nacho. I think you kind of gave us an understanding of getting to know the different barns, different trainers. Humanizing, like you said. I'm curious on the entry side of things. Like I know what they're probably entering. Then they taking entries tomorrow at Oaklawn.
Tomorrow
Probably because they're
for
on
next
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
So how does that work? Like I know like the trainer says, oh, like, the agent already got us down for that race. So like take me through how those mechanics work of like entry day and how that all plays out on your side of things.
Like trainers will look at horses and a lot of times, they'll want the better jockeys. And sometimes like little Nacho's a bug. So sometimes they want the weight. You know what I mean? He gets weight off as a bug. They start out 10 pounds, then go to 7, then go to 5. So he's an apprentice. Apprentices get the weight. So a lot of guys will try to take that extra 5 pounds off because they think it'll make a difference in the race. But some guys, there's a couple different ways of handling. Jose goes through like all he'll get the list of horses and he asks for horses as well as plans breezers where people call him up. Me, I do a lot of barn walking. and talk to people, and sometimes I'll pick out some horses that I think my guys fit. And sometimes they'll be like, listen, can you breeze this one, and this one, and they'll tell me who we breezed, and I'll say, and I'll try to put them in a spot, and I've learned more about that, as I go along, and I started managing some horses too. So learning all aspects of that, it's made me a better agent. But it's and a lot of sometimes you'll see a rider on a horse that wasn't on him last time because riders sometimes their agents take calls in other races, and you'll get a call at the draw. Are you open? Can you ride my horse? Or I'll call somebody and be like, you were doubled at the draw. You're going to need a rider. Okay. Me and 100 other guys, and they'll put you on, but there's a lot of different ways that a rider gets on a horse. Most of the time, though, if you're working horses for a barn, most of the guys are loyal. And if you get that horse ready, they'll put that horse in the spot with you on it. And that's where we come in. Your relationships, they give you, the opportunity. I mean,
100%.
that's all you want in this business is opportunity, because you never know. I mean, the other day we had a horse. I didn't ride it, but I managed it. It was the first horse I've ever bought at a sale. Horse paid $80, as you know, because you walked out with both pockets fat and a little stuffed in your shoes.
Yeah, we went back to back in Oakland on Saturday. You had your horse that you purchased, the first one you purchased, and then, our First Rodeo's first horse at Oakland was a winner of the race right after. So we
Yeah,
we we, we had the closing double there. Two guys from Jersey.
yeah, that was pretty cool. That was very cool. That was very cool.
100%.
How?
So tell me,
Go ahead.
sorry, you go.
Go. You go.
I was just gonna ask about Nacho, how Nacho got his nickname, how you got connected to him, the whole 9 yards.
Well, I do. I make videos on Instagram and stuff. It's something I started doing during COVID. I used to do coronavirus videos, and I was bored. And people started watching, and all of a
Dude,
sudden,
they're
I got
electric.
more and more people start watching. So I do them at Monmouth Park, and each track's got, especially the little tracks, they got characters. So there's a guy, he works for Peter Sinifius. That's I called him Nacho Libre. So I would mess with him all the time, and he likes to indulge in the adult beverages. So Nacho is always a little bit tuned up. So I will put him on the videos and mess with him. So Fernando Hara started calling me Nacho. So we would go, when we got here, we were going back and forth calling each other Nacho. And Amir one day we were all together, and he looks in Spanish, and he goes to Fernando and goes, I guess he asked him, what is Nacho in Spanish? And Fernando started dying. And I said, we'll start calling you Little Nacho. So we start calling him Little Nacho. And then I make little videos and little jokes. And then all of a sudden, like the guy from Bucket Bomber, what's his name from he's on Twitter. You know him? He did an article about him, and he called him Little Nacho. And then I got trainers calling me up. Eric called me up. Listen, I need Little Nacho to work a horse. I said, this is, and my buddy in California, like people calling me up. They're like, who's Little Nacho got this weekend? And it caught on because he's like 100 pounds. He's tiny. So Little Nacho, it fits him. It really does fit him. And people love it. Like Armando Hernandez, I rode from the other day. I get a text, tell Little Nacho this. And it just, every time I see somebody write it or text it or say it, it's hysterical. It's
It's
hysterical.
awesome.
And then like Big Nacho, the one that works for Sinifius, people send me videos of him in New York walking around, and I post them all the time because this summer, everybody got a kick out of him. Like I filmed him a couple of times when he was bombed, and it was hysterical. Hysterical. Drinking 22
I
ounces
gotta
in the
talk to
morning.
Peter. We got a horse with Peter. I gotta ask that Big Nacho.
Well, you gotta ask him. Ask him about Nacho. It's
Yeah,
Felix's brother. You know Felix,
I don't think
the
so.
assistant trainer?
I don't know him yet.
Well, you gotta ask Peter about Felix's brother Nacho. You gotta go meet him. It's hysterical.
I'm
Hysterical.
writing it down now.
You gotta ask him, like he's a character. I mean, like if I ever did a show on characters, there's some characters, especially Belmont and Monmouth. You know, we had Nacho. We got there's a guy Pinky. There's some amazing characters that have been on the backside forever, and they're just I have Herbie the Ice Guy at Monmouth. I call him Grumple Stillskin because he's always yelling and angry. So I got like people will text me, where's Grumple? We ain't seen him in a couple of days. It's funny. I just like giving people nicknames and they tend to stick.
I love it. I love it. I hope does little Nacho like his nickname?
Yeah, he answers to it because he'll say to me, Nacho, call me. Yeah, he likes it. He likes it. I mean, and let me tell you, Jose's dad found him, saw him riding Panama, and he is got it. Like he's talented. I've seen a lot of bugs. He's talented, and he's starting to gonna start going to the gym. He's starting protein shakes, and he puts on 10 pounds of muscle. He is going to be a force in this industry.
Hell yeah. He had a
I'm
nice
very
winner on Saturday when we were there. For
Yep.
sure. In the second race there. Yes, so like take me through kind of the path now. So you guys got connected to little Nacho. You're kind of helping guide him through the beginning of his career here, helping him walk barns, get on some horses in the morning, get on some horses in the afternoon. How does that kind of mentorship work, and how does it kind of like do you guys decide where you guys want to go after the Oakland meet, or at what point do you guys kind of decide that?
Well, Jose normally, he's good, man. He's already got me. He's like, listen, start making a plan for where you want to go after this, what tracks, and I'm going to help you. He's always supported in me growing in the business. So he's like, there's a very high possibility Little Nacho and I are going to Indiana. And now I have Joseph Bielmer, who's same age as Little Nacho, 21. And he's probably going to go with me there. And then at Monmouth, I'm gonna definitely have Chantel Sutherland, who's probably one of the greatest female riders of all time. I'm not sure who else I'm going to have there. I'm in the midst of talking to a few people. I don't want to put anything out there that's not going to be true. And I've been looking at maybe Prairie Meadows because a lot of this stuff you can do online now. And the smaller tracks, like they're not going to have, I don't know Monmouth's horse population. It doesn't, I don't know if it's going to be as big as last year. And I know Prairie Meadows is small. So I think, there's an opportunity for me I met some trainers from here that go there. I know the Monmouth guys, and I'm going to take my shot, spreading out a little, spreading my wings. But I'll be focused mainly with Joseph and Little Nacho in Indiana, because I think the two of those guys can be top 4 in the meet. And then we can ride, they run Monday through Thursday. So we can ride Kentucky as well and the surrounding tracks. Indiana leaves
Ohio's, yep.
Yeah, they leave you in a spot that there's like 5 tracks that are within 3 hours. So it's
a good spot. And there's good money there too. Like the purse structures there are nice.
And a lot of trainers from Churchill send horses there.
Yeah.
So you get an opportunity to be seen for them. A lot of trainers from Churchill have a second string there. So that's good.
Yeah, it's good with the exposure for sure. I've never been to that track.
Me neither. Me neither. I asked everybody about it. They said, "Do you like to golf and do you like to fish?" I said, "I don't play golf." I said, "About I do fish." He said, "Do you like looking at cornfields?" I said, "Well, I guess. I mean, I don't know."
The backside's the backside, no matter where you're at. There's just
exactly. If I gotta leave and I get abducted by the children of the corn, then that's it. Now if I got me, I'm done. What do you want me to do?
Then Nacho will fight off the aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be a fun adventure for sure. And like on that note, I think it could be kind of cool to just. There's so much being done right now in terms of Jersey and the racetrack there, and I think it's been a complicated few years there. Like ever since I've been following, I'm 27. I've been going to the track, since I was, 18 really, like, kind of going and gambling and stuff. And, it's the sports book was a big thing that got people keep people back to the track, was kind of a lifeline. Then they've tried some fixed odds stuff. They do a bunch of big days out there with like the food trucks and the pony rides, the whole 9 yards. I think it's like a very nice, like family friendly atmosphere in the summers. They've done a great job with the Haskell. It's really just, I guess, outside of like just the money, right? It's got to just be coming down to getting some sort of additional revenue outside just racing in terms of slots, things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Monmouth is everybody that visit Monmouth loves it. Trainers that have been there in the past would love to go back. But Monmouth, they're they don't have the funds that like a Delaware have because Delaware has a casino. So if you run at Monmouth, you know, they give you 600 to run the race. Like every trainer gets 600, but then their HISA fees and everything come out and they end up with like $39. So because the track doesn't have the money to pay for those fees, like in other tracks that have casinos, they can handle them fees and you get a nice check. I mean, and I mean, the benefit to going to Monmouth and the reason why some trainers go is because Monmouth has the free workman's comp, which trainers love. So, and like, you go to New York, that's one of the things that's pricing New York out of the business. Workman's comp's 15.9%. So, Monmouth Park, that you'll see a lot of guys go there. They bring their babies down there to train. But I think Monmouth Park, it's slots or doom, pretty much. If they don't get the slots, it's probably not going to be. We're in trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
they got the sports book. The sports book generates revenue. They they don't, and they get some revenue from simulcasting, but revenue generally comes from on-site attendance and on-site money, and they just don't draw the people anymore.
Yeah. I saw, aren't they building like a hotel or apartments on, like, they're taking up some of the parking lot and now
Yeah, but
building apartments and stuff?
I don't know how much. I don't know that money is intertwined with racing.
Yeah.
It's been I'm not going to comment on it because I get myself in trouble, but it's been a sore subject with owners, workers, and of how some of the things have been handled. I mean, listen, the track would have been closed had Dennis not stepped in X amount of years ago because they took that deal for 3 years from Atlantic City and got that subsidy. But then when that got cut off, everything looked very bleak. So it was kind of like a quick payoff without longevity. And now the state has to kick in. They kick in like I think 10 million towards the purses. But I mean, horse racing does generate, I think, like 700 and something million, which everybody knocks the state for giving Monmouth Park money, but I think horse racing generates like 700 and something
Yeah.
million in revenue for the state. So I mean, if the taxpayers are getting 10 million to generate 700, I don't
Pretty
even
fair
think
trade.
it's pretty fair treat. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of things people will critique, and I'm one of the people that I critique things. But in the end, I mean, had the people, the powers that be, not stepped in, we wouldn't have Monmouth Park, and I give them credit for that. Now, moving forward, a lot of things. I think a lot of people need to come together, as a group. I think the horsemen need to band together. I think that the surrounding town, you know, uh, the state, a lot of people there has to be communication. There has to be a lot of transparency. And if we get the slots, I just think, shoot, if they get the slots, Monmouth Park could be probably one of the premier tracks in the country because I mean, you could even rival Saratoga. Why wouldn't you want to, if you're a horseman, they got big purses. Why wouldn't you want to bring your family to the beach for the summer rather than the lake?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
It's like,
mean?
yeah, I hope cooler heads prevail there, and like, I understand like the AC lobbyists want to keep things in AC, but we talked about it. They're opening up those casinos now in like Queens near New York City. Parks already exist. So like that gambling dollar is not going to AC. And it's like growing up where I grew up, like my brother still goes to AC every now and then, but like it's a shorter trip to parks. I have a lot of friends that just go to parks instead. It's like if you're in New Jersey, like you gotta kind of, I understand AC, it probably needs to it's the online gambling now definitely dominates where the brick and mortar casinos, whether it's Vegas or AC, is kind of struggling.
Well,
Where
Vegas
it's
is always going to be Vegas. People go to Vegas because you got weather, you got clubs, you got atmosphere.
yeah.
Vegas is an adventure. Atlantic City, I mean, let's call space big. You're driving through, what is like Beirut to get to
Yeah.
the casinos. I
Yeah.
mean, that was where the mistake they made years ago. When they developed AC, they should have developed everything like 3 miles off the boardwalk. I mean, now you got casinos closing because what's the draw? Like you said, if you just want to gamble, you can stay in New York, you can go to parks, you can go to Delaware,
And it's doing your phone.
yeah, or your phone. But if you
Yeah.
want to be in that atmosphere live, you know what I mean? Because some people don't trust computer betting.
Yeah.
You want to go play roulette or dice. You want them dice in your hand. I honestly think I'm not sure if Monmouth's going to get the casino. I pray they do, but I really do think that the Meadowlands will get one, and I really think that Monmouth gets a piece of that because we run there. So as long as they get it, it'll be positive. And if they get it first, eventually Monmouth will get it because it's just something that just has to be. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll realize like they're everywhere now. Everybody's got a casino. Everybody. It used to be two places. Now everybody's got them. They're on river boats. They're everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. I think what's like it's a little troubling, like the prediction market stuff. I think is definitely a danger for horse racing and like just the accessibility to gambling now. I think is a bit of a problem. I think there's guys my age getting themselves into trouble. Guys younger than me getting us into trouble now. Like you know, just kind of gambling too much and kind of like fighting
Yeah, because
addiction
you can go get your
that
credit
way.
cards. You can go.
Yeah,
I know some dude who was in rehab with me. He was a gambling addict. Just got a whole bunch of credit cards at one time, and they approved him for all of them, and he ran them all up
yeah,
gambling because you
yeah.
just
It's
put them
it's
in
it's
and then he kept
scary.
them. I mean, and
It's
the
it's
other thing
scary.
with gambling, horse racing itself has to find a way to bring people other than to the big days to like horse racing, to want to bet. Because listen, you and me love the sport, but face it, these kids like Pete Verdi, who was a vice president of Monmouth Park, he grew up in Neptune City with my family and stuff. Me and him are close. He says to me, Anthony, why would you want to wait 20 minutes in between a race when you can bet whether the next ball is going to be a strike or a ball?
Yeah.
The accessibility to in-game betting, prop betting, all that stuff. Horse racing has to evolve and add things that are going to bring people your age and younger. How old are you?
27.
It's your age group. My age group, I think, is the last real people that bet horses, like 45 to 50, because there was no real technology till, no internet till I was almost 25, 30. So they have to do something to bring people back in. Well, put prop bets up. Is IRAD going to win 2+ races
Yeah.
today? Put
Get
stuff
it in
up
front of
like that.
people. I think the big thing too is like there's like my age group is very gambling savvy. Like everyone has the apps, everyone's putting in these crazy parlays, XYZ. But it's horse racing needs to like I understand like, oh, FanDuel's got a shared wallet and like all this like hoopla about that. I was like, who cares? Like that's not attracting new users to me. It's like what you have to
Exactly.
do is you have to have the ability to, and I don't know how to protect first things like that, but I think it's a scarcity mindset to think, okay, like we can't offer anything on these apps because it's gonna steal from pari mutual. But in all actuality, like it would grow the pie. I think you have to limit it to like certain props, like win bet, like maybe you only offer win bets, things like that, and like just getting it on getting it on the app and people are scrolling through looking to add something to their parlay, all of a sudden, oh, let me go look at this. Like I could juice my parlay. Like maybe like I hit something and I've got 9-1 shot in there. Like, how the hell did you pick that horse? Now all of a sudden, someone new is interested in the sport, and they'll eventually move over to the pari-mutuel stuff. But like to me, I think that to me is like the low hanging fruit. When like people ask me like the magic wand question, what do I want to change? I would have something on the app so that way we could grow the audience. I think that is kind of a key thing, and I think the casino subsidies are great, but it's you're also being that reliant on subsidies that are very you know government influenced is scary because you see a track like Monmouth scraping together trying to survive when God knows how many of these tracks would falter without the subsidies from the slot machines.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. The other thing we got to get rid of, I know a lot of big bettors that aren't betting the horses anymore because of
The
CAW.
CAWs,
That's
yeah.
ruining our sport. I mean, I had a horse Madison was riding last year. The horse went into the gate for George Delgado. Horse aired out, went into the gate 7-5, came out of the gate 1-9. I mean,
It's the only bet that you feel like you lost when you hit.
yeah, whatever they're doing there. They're giving these guys these kickbacks, and they're not even betting. They're not looking. They have a computer generating their bets for them because
They're
all they
not even
want to
like
do is break even
they're
and get
get
11% back.
yeah. Yeah, they get their kickback. And I saw something. I didn't realize how much the advanced deposit wagering sites take out of the kitty too. Like even like I feel bad I was at Oakland not betting, with paper slips because a lot more of the percentage of your dollar goes to the track when you actually bet it on track versus to the apps.
Well, that's the problem with Monmouth. You don't have people, daily people on track. I mean, if you ever been to Monmouth on a Friday, the
Yeah, it's
racing's
no
good,
yeah.
but it's a ghost town, and
Yeah.
it sucks. I mean, that's a great little thing. Like if they could figure out how to draw people on a Friday night, twilight racing, you go there. You had a couple. I mean, if they had a casino and some restaurants, people would probably come. But that's what you got to do. You got to find. We as an industry have to find a way to bring the people in. Oaklawn, Gulfstream, Saratoga, they're the only places I see that are, Tampa because it's warm in the winter, the snowbirds. Uh, Down here, it's an institution. Saratoga, you go there, Del Mar, which I love, even Santa Anita. I mean, I went to the Santa Anita Derby a few years ago. I took this girl and Lou Raffetto, who's a good friend of my uncle's, got me a box. So we dressed up because I've been to Santa Anita before. And I was like, nobody was dressed up. And there was barely anybody there for the Santa Anita Derby Day. And I was like, what happened to this place? Because
Yeah.
I've been years ago, I used to go all the time, but I lived in California like 5, 6 different times. And I was like, what happened? I mean, these tracks, they got to find a way to bring the people back.
Yeah, I'm reading R.D. Hubert's book right now. He ran Ruidoso Downs for a long time. He ran Hollywood Park for a long time. Big quarter horse guy, but also like kind of the chapter about Hollywood Park and kind of some of the things that he did to get people to the track. I feel like that's kind of a key thing that's missing now. I feel like so much of, track executives is just, managing the purse account. There's no really outside of the box thinking in terms of attracting people to the
No,
track itself. I was like, I'm also reading the book about the Savannah Bananas guy. I know like Savannah Bananas get kind of roasted online, but they've got like $2 million person wait list for tickets for independent minor league baseball. Like go up the
yeah,
Somerset Patriots, like they were trying to give us tickets away, which I
I
had
know.
a
I
great
see
time with Somerset
stars in the
Patriots.
stands all the time.
Yeah. So it's like, why can't something like that be applied to horse racing? We need to have somebody think outside the box in terms of getting people to the track and understand the full experience. I feel like so much of it is this is what we do, it's what we do, it's what we do. We're like Jesse Cole, the Savannah Banana guys, what he did was he invented his own version of baseball. Like and there's no reason why, horse racing can't do similar things. I forgot if it was like Eric or somebody brought up this weekend, like Canterbury doing those like special like gray only races and the ostrich races, like the different different kind of things you could do to get people out to the track because for me, I feel like horse racing is a sport where you have to get people like the sport kind of sells itself if you create the atmosphere that, hooks people in. I feel like getting people on the backside, people get hooked. If you get people out to, the Haskell on a big day, they want they all of a sudden they're interested, and I think it's creating that atmosphere, creating, a reason for people to come out, and then there's gotta be more done in terms of education for the young gambler pulling up because it costs $5 for a program, like, it's hard to read, people don't know how to bet the horses too, there's, like, a
Glad
large
you
barrier
brought
to
that
entry
up.
there.
My
There's a
uncle
huge barrier to entry.
came up with an idea a few years ago. He goes, have a class, invite people in for breakfast at Monmouth, and go
It's
through
fun.
how to bet. Have a breakfast, meet some trainers, meet some jockeys. The other thing he said, and he said it years ago, Monmouth in that picnic area, which everybody loves, they had all that space. You put in boardwalk games, make it really
Yeah,
family friendly. Because if you
yeah,
bring in the kids, the parents are going to bet at the window. They're not going to just sit there because everybody's yelling. They're going to want a piece of the action. So if
yeah.
you make it family friendly, they will come. They will come.
100%. I think a big thing too is some conversations I've had. Horse racing is a really good story to tell too in terms of like an affordable day at a sporting event. It's like being from Jersey, you want to go to a Giants game, you're paying $50 to park, you're gonna waste 2 hours in the parking lot each way. If you have a family of four, you're not getting out of there without spending, probably $200, $300 on food, $300 on tickets, maybe per. I don't even know what they go
Yeah,
for.
you could be a Gino for a family of four to sit up or deck.
Yeah, yeah, literally. So it's like horse racing is an affordable way for a family to have a good time, and I think that there's many different ways to enjoy it. It's like some people will go there and just love seeing the horses rub on a pony kind of thing, understanding having a connection to nature. They throw on some boardwalk games. Some people like the gambling side. There's something for everybody at the horse track. I think the horse track doesn't do a good enough job of getting people there to
Hey,
start.
let the kids come in. Let them sit on a retired racehorse. Bring a few of them out there.
Yeah,
Walk them around. I know they have the pony rides, but let them go on a retired racehorse. Put a helmet on them, put goggles on them, give them some kind of experience. Take a picture. So when they're like four, they're like, "Oh, I love Monmouth Park. I had such a good time there." When they're like 15, 18, let me go over there. You know what I mean? Do something. They get that memory that I got that draws them back.
100%, 100%.
We got to get them while
All
they're
right,
young.
100%. All right. Magic wand question, then we'll close it rapid fire. We kind of touched on it, but I want to give you your magic wand moment here. So, magic wand, you can change one thing about horse racing, unlimited money, everyone buys in. What is the one thing you're changing to make the sport better for the next generation?
Hissa, it was a great idea, but it became like a knee jerk reaction after, they put all those guys in jail, and it's a great idea, but it's an idea that went overboard. I mean, Monmouth Park had 66% of their claims like voided last year. That they're just there. There needs to be some kind of board with horsemen and owners and vets and everybody collaborating. So it's it's a body of everybody together. So they come up with a set of rules that everybody understands. And I think if they did that, and they do a lot of great things, Hissa. It's not a bad thing. But I think if it was relaxed and some things were changed and some things were not changed, things were adjusted, I think it would help racing because there's fields that, you get a 7 horse field and all of a sudden three of them get knocked out. There's no way that track is generating money.
Yeah, and for me too, it's like I think the big thing is it's like the homologation of rules. So the combination, it's like to me, I understand like horse racing is like a very, very regulated thing for a good reason. But the fact that it's regulated by both the state agencies plus this federal agency, it's like there's a ton of bureaucratic waste going on where it's like we're double paying these executives for like, rules and stuff where it's like can't we all come together, have like one formal like national body that like governs horse racing, so everyone's kind of playing by the same rules in every single state. Everyone kind of knows what the rules are. You have the
Have the
ruling
Hissavets.
body and
Have the Hissavets. My cousin Jimmy says, why don't you have the Hissavets ride around with the regular vet, the vet that's treating the horse, and then they can collaborate and say, hey, there's a difference of opinion. Plus, some of these people they hire, they're not horse vets. I mean, that's the truth. I know that for a fact. At Monmouth Park, one of them's she's never was a horse vet, and it's a little stressful. I call her the bunny vet because she was a small animal vet. You know what I mean? I don't hold my tongue. I'm going to tell you the truth.
yeah,
So you got a small animal vet that's never been on the racetrack, and now she's calling the shots.
yeah, it's a
To
bit
me, something
bit
there
ass
doesn't
backwards.
jive.
Yeah,
And the other thing I would do if you gave me unlimited money, and I would try to bring back a lot of breeding farms because they went under, and that's the other thing that's hurting us. We're not horses aren't being born in the U.S. anymore. We don't have babies.
yeah,
We went from
yeah,
80,000 in the 80s to 16 or 18,000 now.
yeah.
That's the other thing hurting the game.
Yeah, the full crop dropping is definitely concerning, and like you look at the full crop in Jersey too, because it's so uncertain. The fact that Bookham Dano exists is pretty crazy.
Oh my God, it's insane. Like that Jersey
It's
bred,
like
it was horse. I mean, it was horse of the year in this category, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's
yep,
insane.
yeah. So yeah, I totally agree. All right, Anthony, let's get into rapid fire questions. I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll have you on because you're
I
an electric
appreciate
factor,
it.
and
I
I
mean, you
I, I
guys are
enjoy
awesome.
having you on. We're just getting started, both of us. All right,
Absolutely.
rapid fire questions should all be like one word, one sentence kind of answers, but do the what you may. All right, favorite racetrack.
Sending you.
All right, that was a surprising one. All right, favorite racehorse of all time.
Wow. Wow. I'm going to have to say, wow. I'm drawing a blank. I mean, wow. There's so many. There is so many. Oh, man. Let's go back to that one.
All right, we'll finish with that one. All right, favorite big race day to attend. So Belmont Stakes, Haskell Day, Breeders' Cup
Breeders' Cup
Saturday, Derby
Saturday. I
Day,
mean, I was
National
there for
Saturday.
Bremen Zenyatta. That was like
Man,
the
at
most
Churchill,
magic.
right?
That was my first time at Churchill. It was insane.
When you hear the word successful, who is the first person you think of?
Wow. Hmm. I tell you what, I got a cousin Jamie who works his ass off. He runs Final Turn, and I don't know how he does it, but he's running. He's got a family. He runs a couple businesses. He runs the track. He is, and he has built himself an empire on his own. So yeah,
That. All right, do you have a favorite horse now? Because the
I'm
last
gonna
question
say
I
one
feel
of
like
my
is a good
favorite
roundup.
horses was one of the ones I won the Breeders' Cup Classic with. Was I had concern. Thought I love that horse. That was my horse. And it's
I
not a
love
big
that.
popular horse, but I have that horse's picture. It
I need
winning
to
the
look that
Breeders'.
horse up. I don't even know what that horse is, to be honest.
He
I
upset.
was,
You remember Holy Bull?
yes.
It was that year. He ran third to Holy Bull in the Haskell. Then I bet him in the Travers, and he dueled with Holy Bull and almost nailed him at the wire. And then he ended up, I forget the horse he beat. And he beat a really big horse in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and I had him big. It was a couple of my bigger bets. I had him. I
Figure
had
it
him
out.
there. Him in Country House. The Country House didn't win. I just got put up. It
Dude,
was
Country House was my first derby. The first one I went to I was on the infield, didn't sleep at all. Like I was driving in from Clemson, I went to school with my buddy. I didn't have a car. My buddy had a car. He locked his keys in his professor's apartment. I mean, not apartment, professor's office. He was the last final on the Friday. It was the first Friday in May. So I just watched the Oaks from my apartment. He locked his keys in the professor's office. We didn't get in the road to Louisville from South Carolina until like 11 p.m. We pull up to like our friend of a friend's like fraternity house at like 6 a.m. They're all dressed drinking. I'm like, this is gonna be a day and a half. I just need 20-minute nap. 20-minute nap, got going, and it was the Country House Derby. And I had Country House like across the board for like $2.
I had
And
a
I'll
50
never
win
forget
place.
that.
Dude, I
Oh
missed this.
man.
I missed I was at Hollywood Sportsbook by myself. I had 50 win place. I had the exacta for $3. I had the
Oh
trifecta
man.
for 50 cents. I think I just got out of rehab and I want him for 13 grand. And I just missed the super for 85,000. I had the third and fourth place horses reversed. When they put them up, I
Oh
went
man.
crazy.
Yeah. It was so funny though, like the infield was like starting to clear out. People didn't realize it was over, and then there was like a big hush over the crowd as soon as it like got like
Because it
happened or
was like, it
whatever.
was forever. It was like
Yeah, it was a
20
long time.
minutes.
That's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's finish up here. Finish up. The last question is any advice to your younger self?
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, that's a good one. You
It's a good one.
you had a battle there, and
As-
I'm sure you've you know, it's
But I can't, I mean, it brought me to where I am. It's part of my journey. I mean, I own it because it brought me to where I am now. I wouldn't be here had it not been for that road. So
yeah,
it's
we wouldn't be
I
talking
look
if
at
it
it,
wasn't for
God's
it.
plan.
100%. I think it's you know, you don't really build character through the easy times. Your character, much like, you know, if you go to the gym and you work out your muscles, it takes tension to do that. It takes tension to build a character as well, similar to muscles. So
I
you've
think it
got
got me ready. All that
yeah,
got, you got to, it built me ready for this place. I mean, because it's like, you know, it could be, you get that horse you're waiting on, and all of a sudden they call you that morning. Oh, your horse got an abscess. You're like, oh,
yeah,
or something worse, and you're like,
yeah.
damn,
Yep. Easy game. I always say easy. Whenever I get bad news, first thing I always tell whoever I'm talking to, trainer, assistant, easy game,
easy
easy game,
game,
easy
easy
game,
game.
easy game, easy game. All right, Anthony, this is a ton of fun. We'll definitely have you back on.
Am I
Looking
going to see
forward
you for
to
the
some
Rebels?
more adventures. I don't know about the Rebels when. Uh,
March 1st, Sunday.
nah, I can't make. I got a wedding in Jersey actually the 28th.
Man,
So I'll be out then. I'm definitely coming down for Arkansas Derby, so you'll see me then. And if we run before that, I may need to play a little hooky from work and
there you go.
take a road
They
trip.
understand. Your horse is
Yeah.
running that day. I think we're going to run him in the pig trail, Otello.
There you go. That'd be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it'll be awesome to have a horse in on
I gotta
Rebel Day.
I gotta tell Eric because we're gonna probably wait for the next book with our guy that won right after yours. So maybe we'll
That
both
was
be
a
running
big
that
win,
day. And
bro.
when we
3-year-old
and the
versus
other
older
doings,
horses. That was strong.
dude, it was a ton of fun. It was a ton of
Yeah.
fun for sure. Looking forward to the journeys ahead. All right, this is a ton of fun. Thank
Thanks,
you.
brother. I appreciate you.
Uh,
Out.